Dear friends, India is no stranger to us anymore, is it? However, in fact, it is not all on TV series. The Ganges River for people to bathe, drink, and worship gods, which is very dirty. Unique Indian dishes make people afraid. Maybe you have to urgently find a toilet after eating. And the habits and hobbies are confusing. Going to the toilet does not even dare to use paper to wipe it for fear of staining the gods, which is more strange than the custom of throwing cow dung on the body to pray. There are countless confusing things that make everyone shocked, waiting for you in the video, shocking facts revealed in India. Come on and explore with me. Inside the largest slum on the planet in India, Dharavi, the world's largest slum, located in the center of Mumbai, India, is a prime land with an area of more than 229 kilometers, but is inhabited by up to 1 million people. There are more than 460,251 people per square kilometer. There are alleys that are so cramped that visitors have to lean over. People do laundry, cooking, bathing, and living right in front of their houses. Near the pottery factories, people have to live with the hot air emitted from the kilns, black smoke. You don't think of slums as auto poverty, for example. 1 million people in this slum make up to $1 billion a year, products made from waste from all over India. The products they make are also sold on Amazon. Maybe you will buy the suitcase in this store too. More surprisingly, in the slums, there is also a private school with a tuition fee of about $450 USD a year. A house costs $25,000 to buy, and a month's rent is about $160. The price of an apartment is not cheap. You can guess how much the rent is for 1 month. Please comment on one number below. Especially for a country with 80.5% of India's Hindu population, there will also be temples in slums. Next are clothing factories, although the form is small, but they can always be exported, and all plastic waste will be put in this bin to be washed and then come to the next stage. You also can't ask the river in this area to have clear water because a lot of garbage is thrown into it. Water in the slum area is completely free, but it is only provided for 3 hours, and those who do not store water in time will not have water to use. In addition, tourists are advised to avoid entering Dharavi on their own as they may get lost or robbed, but this vlogger still ventures to bring the whole cameraman team to explore. In November 2022, billionaire Gautam Adani, Asia's richest man with a fortune of more than $130 billion, won a bid to redevelop the slum with a value of up to $2.4 billion, but faced controversy because it would completely destroy the lives and livelihoods of residents. In addition, this place was also the setting in the movie Slum Millionaire, directed by Danny Boyle, won an Oscar in 2008. Now let's join the top 10 mysteries on an Indian food tour. Unique Indian dishes. First of all, it must be mentioned that the one-generation heirloom armpit sandwich here. Instead of hitting it with your hands, put it in the armpit and knead it back and forth a few times with your hands to absorb the spices, then put it in a fat pan. To do this, he probably won't be bossy. Surely his armpits don't smell like anything, right? Sometimes charity events or meals for the poor will be distributed like this. To be honest, I don't know what it is. I only see that the color is a little like the mortar. The most controversial dessert came, aloe vera drink. Everywhere you look, you can see TikTokers who are trending to drink one time, and the end is not daring to try a second time. The salesman with clean hands said no to gloves, directly cut and squeezed the viscous water of aloe, finished adding some syrup, and poured it into a cup to invite customers to drink. Here, the sugarcane will also not scrape the peel, but only wipe the peel with wet rag and then insert it straight into the press. Indispensable is the red ant sauce, also known as chapra, a specialty in Chhattisgarh. This is a special sauce made from animal fluids and eggs. Red ants are dried, then crushed, and mixed with salt and sweeteners. This sauce has a sweet and slightly spicy taste due to the ants that contain formic acid. In short, The common feature of Indian dishes is that the cook's hands will be directly immersed in everything from dry to watery. Do you have the courage to try all these combos? If you want to play lighter, order a traditional portion of rice, which costs only $0.50. Then eat pani puri, which means water bread, a famous Indian street snack. So India also has clean dishes for you to eat with peace of mind. There is also fire beetle here, which is a very famous dish for the brave in New Delhi and Mumbai. You will experience the sensation of putting a fire in your mouth, but when you close your mouth, the fire will be extinguished immediately. The fire beetle dish is a mixture of spices, dried fruits, roasted fennel seeds, cardamom leaves, and sauce, all wrapped in fresh beetle leaves. The seller will light a fire before putting it in the mouth of the diner. Indians believe that this dish can cure many diseases, including coughs, colds, or headaches, helping to promote health. Even though the fire burns outside, you can rest assured you can't burn. Or you can change to a crowded stall, which is a green grape smoothie that is carefully separated by the craftsman with skillful hands, then put in a blender and poured into an ice jar. I've never drunk this dish before. It must be so delicious for so many customers. The important thing is that here, most of the dishes have to be picked up with the right hand and put in the mouth. If you look closely, you will see that they only touch food with their fingertips, do not use their whole hands, and never use their left hand to eat because they consider it an unclean hand. The reason for such a culture is that Indians believe that food and drink are given by the Supreme Being and must be received with bare hands to show their respect. In addition, it is easy to notice that Indian dishes are very difficult to eat with a spoon or fork. For example, flatbread such as roti and chapati, it is difficult to touch with a spoon. But how can you use chopsticks to wrap the curry sauce inside the crust? Here you will also experience Indian massage styles. They use their hands combined with cosmic energy to massage to help you dispel fatigue like this. If you eat fire beetle before, there is a fire haircut here. Indian shaving is very strange. The price is only 1.2 USD, but the worker seems to be doing it with enthusiasm. Next, you will see the cow in India being promoted to a new position. If you offend it, you will receive a high price. Cows are deified. The expensive price to pay when you accidentally insult cows. If you don't know, India will never kill animals such as crocodiles, snakes, cats, cows, but can only kill sheep, goats, buffaloes. You heard it right. You can only kill buffaloes, not cows. So if you intend to eat beef stew, lie down and dream. Even when the COVID-19 pandemic was ravaging India, some Hindus went to a cow farm in the state of Gujarat once a week to bathe in cow's milk, apply a mixture of urine and animal feces to the body in the hope of boosting immunity. What? Of course, no doctor told them to do that. People also often turn to the cow god when they want to ask for the god's blessing by holding the cow's tail and letting the cow touch its head. Funnily enough, in the state of West Bengal, cows are required to have identity cards, the purpose of which is to prevent cattle smuggling and protect animals. As a result, the cows are free to roam the streets, do whatever they want, or sleep anywhere. And yet, India has a whole one holiday for cows called Gopastami. On this day, the cows, whether wandering or raised on farms, are washed clean and wear wreaths. There is also an annual festival called the Pidakala War, where people throw cow dung at each other, although there are always people injured because of it. But the villagers believe that the wounds will heal within 3 days. What? All of this absurdity stems from the fact that many Hindus see cows as a living symbol of the faith they worship. In the Veda, cows symbolize abundance and fertility. Their horns represent the gods, the face represents the sun, the moon, and shoulders represent Agni, the god of fire. In 1995, the Rajasthan Bovine Animal Act was introduced, which prohibited people from owning, selling, or transporting beef. Since then, beef has become a national ban, and those who violate this law can be sentenced to 2 years in prison and pay a fine of up to 10,000 rupees. The consequences of insulting cows are more frightening than economic fines. For example, in 2019, after discovering 3 men slaughtering a cow in the forest, A crowd of about 10-15 people tracked down and attacked these 3 people. As a result, 1 person died, the other 2 were injured and taken to the hospital. Or the case of an Indian MP who hit a colleague right in the meeting because he had previously ordered beef in a private meal. Therefore, one piece of advice to you is that when traveling to India, absolutely do not chase or beat, but stay away from cows. The second is not to bring any products such as clothes, sandals, accessories made from cowhide, as well as dry foods made from beef. Confusing hobbies and principles of life. The whole world was shocked when they heard that thieves broke in and stole something that was not gold, silver, money, phones, motorbikes, but onions. What? I'm not lying, as evidenced by a vegetable shop owner in the state of Gujarat who was robbed of 250 kilos of onions by thieves. In another case, a vegetable seller in Lucknow was robbed of tomatoes, garlic, and onions worth 12,000 rupees, $140. Another fruit and vegetable shop owner in West Bengal, India, also panicked when he discovered that 500 kilograms of onions and a lot of ginger and garlic had been stolen. Onions are also one of the main spices in Indian cuisine. This kind of theft really makes it difficult for people. Interestingly, Indian locals never use paper after going to the toilet. They believe that toilets are considered dirty, but toilet paper symbolizes purity, so it should not be thrown down the toilet. So how do they clean themselves after going to the toilet? The answer is to use the left-handed rule and the faucet or basin next to it and wash it thoroughly. The next hobby that you must be too familiar with when watching Indian movies is to use gold to make jewelry for weddings and festivals. I have to feel heavy for the bride, so I vow to help reduce this burden. Indeed, it is one of the largest consumers of gold in the world, averaging 838 tons per year. In 2018, 7,604 tons of gold were consumed, most of which were used to make wedding and festive jewelry, especially when married women in India also wear rings on their toes. Gold in India is sold for 20% more, so many people seek to smuggle gold. A gold smuggler from Sharjah to Jaipur accepted the pain of making a profit by inserting 972 grams of gold into his anus. His abnormal gait caused him to be overturned. If successful, the 972 grams of gold he sought to bring into India would be worth about $60,000. Finally, there is a sad evil for women. In addition to child marriage to force children to marry, as mentioned in the 8-year-old bride film, an Indian woman is raped every 15 minutes, about 25,000 cases a year. It is the gender imbalance that makes it difficult for men to find wives in both India and China. Moreover, the patriarchal culture that has been ingrained in India has led many men to believe that they have the right to oppress women. On the contrary, many women have a submissive attitude, not daring to protest against the injustices they encounter. Even foreign women who come here are harassed. Travel vlogger Jordan Taylor had a horrible experience that she could hardly have imagined in her life in India. Jordan and her boyfriend went to India together, thinking that it would be safer to have a boyfriend with them. But who would have thought that they were walking happily when a man passed by and deliberately held hands and touched Jordan's body? He even leaned into her ear and said obscenities even when Livio, her boyfriend, was there. In addition, the hotels she stayed at provided Jordan's personal information to strangers, and even the hotel staff harassed her. Initially, Jordan and her boyfriend stayed in a 5-star hotel in Delhi, but the staff here gave all her personal information, phone number, and even her room number to the strangers. Unable to bear these rude disturbances, the couple decided to move to another hotel, the Oyo Hotel, from bad to worse. Her boyfriend, Livio, had to return home 4 days early, and for 4 days living alone in India. Jordan's life was like a horror movie. Although the couple tried not to reveal that Livio had left, hotel staff saw him at the airport early in the morning. So they started calling her on the phone, and some even followed the female vlogger on the stairs. 2 days before she left, Jordan was in her room when a man knocked on the door and asked her to open it. When he was refused, he left and came back after an hour and slammed something on the door. Next, Jordan heard the sound of an electric circuit breaker knocking down, and then a man's voice said, "Hello, the electrical system is broken. Open the door so we can go inside and fix it." These depraved employees then even turned off the Wi-Fi as an excuse to fix it when the electrical repair was not approved by Jordan. The last female travel vlogger was almost able to stay in her hotel room for 2 days without food and water because she always saw the shadow of a man standing outside the door, slamming into the room, as if he was always trying to wait until she walked out. Sadly, Jordan Taylor had no way to connect with rescuers or police because the Wi-Fi was cut off and she didn't have access to a local SIM card to make calls. Despite having to go through the most dangerous and sinful situations, the female vlogger still tried to stay calm and find a way to help herself get out of the hotel before any possible risks occurred. At 3 a.m., Jordan noticed that no one was outside her room, so she immediately ran out of the hotel to the airport. Finally, within 24 hours of her releasing a vlog recounting her bad experiences, the Ohio hotel was closed for investigation. But it is very rare for those who commit these crimes to be successfully prosecuted by the law. Do you know a village that never locks its doors? Or what is the truth behind the magnet hill that attracts cars towards it? Let's go to the number 5. Strange places in India shock the world. The first is the unlocked village. You wouldn't expect that all the houses in Shani Shingnapur village in the town of Navasa, India do not have doors or locks. Locals insist there have not been any thefts in the village for centuries. This is even considered a mandatory tradition that is respected by the people. Even newly built buildings, no matter how modern, must not install doors or lock them. The second location is the Mystery Hill in Ladakh, India, where cars turn off and run uphill on their own. Accordingly, when parked at the right white marker at Nam Cham Hill, the car will run uphill on its own at a speed of about 15 to 20 km/h. Even the water poured into the road tends to flow back uphill. Pilots also often have to raise the altitude of the helicopter or aircraft when flying over this route to avoid magnetic interference and turbulence. While the inhabitants of Ladakh believe that the hill once had a path to heaven in legend, another theory is that this is the result of optical illusions, when the terrain is surrounded by steep hills that obscure the horizon, making it feel like you are climbing uphill even though you are actually descending. In addition, in India, there are many temples of gods, such as the snake god, monkey god, elephant god, and cow god, all over the country. Everywhere you can come across a temple, whether it is on the street or in a corner. Having mentioned the temple, of course, there is Kumbh Mela, a Hindu pilgrimage that is repeated every 12 years. This is an event that gathers a huge number of people in 2019, leading a record 130 million participants. Next, in Anandapalli village, southern Kerala, there is a bull surfing game. A pair of bulls used to plow the fields were taken to a spacious site the size of a football field and ankle-deep water. Players will race the bull and stand on a wooden plank while clinging to their leash or clinging to the cow's tail. Subsequently, the country also has the world's only floating post office floating on Dal Lake in Srinagar, as well as a floating market. Actually, there are many strange and crazy things to do in India, but due to limited time, I would like to stop the video here. Thank you for following up to this moment. Don't forget to give Top 10 Mystery 1 like and 1 subscribe. Goodbye and see you in next videos.
With